Hello everybody, Mike Stokes, Wildlife University, making sauna videos. I feel like I need to explain these because it's kind of weird. It might seem kind of weird that I'm sitting in a sauna making a video, but it doesn't seem weird to me at all. The topic of this talk is spirituality for dummies, and this is one of the simplest ways that you can develop your spirituality. So spirituality, it's got so many, it's such a loaded word, and it's so misconstrued and used by so many leaders to serve their own ego. But, you know, even I have to even check, because if a bunch of people really like this video and it starts giving me rewards, then I'm going to have to really be careful, because your ego gets inflated pretty fast, and then your connection to reality, staying humble inside of reality and really seeing reality for what it is, starts to spread out. The bigger your ego gets, the more your connection with reality starts to spread away, so you have to constantly check it. So why am I in the sauna? I'm in the sauna because this is a place where I can explore the edges of my comfort zone. Spirituality always entails, if you're going to become lighter, you know, if you're trying to be a better person in the world, if you want more freedom from the physical demands, circumstances of your life, if you want to be happier, healthier, if you want more meaning in your life, where the rubber meets the road is you have to press your comfort zone. So right now it's 130 degrees in here, and I've been in here about a half hour, and it's pressing the edge of my comfort zone. So I can speak from a place of authority when I say that I'm challenged right now, and I'm trying to sit in it with awareness and to be mindful of what my reactions are. So in a nutshell, spirituality is basically, it's the meaning that we attach to our life. So, right, that's the easy part. But in practice, being a spiritual person, it's such a loaded word. There's so many people out there that are claiming to be spiritual that, you know, just ignore them. If they've got, you know, the white robes on and they're like, you know, making a big show and they're telling you how, you know, they are the manifestation of God and you are the manifestation of God, you know, 9 times out of 10 they're full of shit, and they don't know what they're full of it, and they don't know the real depth of what it means to be a spiritual person. And a spiritual person is, in the old sense of the word, it's not the old sense of the word, and I think the original and the most powerful sense of the word is someone who doesn't just read the book. It's someone who tries to discover the truth of a scripture or of somebody else's empowered state in their own body and mind. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is if you want to be a spiritual person, you're trying to find that, you know, if you resonate with the idea of connecting with God, then you're trying to see, what does that mean inside my body and my mind and in my actions. If you're not doing that, then you're doing something else. You know, there's so many religions around the world which are distinct from spiritual pursuits that just tell you to read. And there's value in that. There's value in reading a particular scripture and then trying to apply it in your life. But you have to try to apply it in your life first. It's kind of like, if you really want to practice if you really want to be authentic, you have to be constantly experimenting with these ideas. You know, if you're reading the Bible and you're really focused on this idea, an eye for an eye, well, you got to go out and take an eye for an eye and see where that leaves you. Does that actually make you who you want to be? And if the answer is no, then you need to stop doing that. You know, scriptures are only as good as the scribes who wrote them down or translated them. I have to rant just a hair. I think it's incredibly destructive, this idea that these words that were put down on paper by people thousands of years ago are somehow the truth. They are in the context of their culture, an account that was recorded by human beings. And those human beings may have had some insight into the nature of spirituality or the nature of life, but you can't separate it from the context of the time. You can't separate it from the culture of the time. You can't separate it from, whether they had a bad day when they were recording that piece. It's spirituality. I really struggle with this one. You can be a spiritual person and be dogmatically religious, meaning that you take one form of religion and you digest it hook, line, and sinker, and that's the whole truth for you. I've met people who are incredibly good people and have incredibly deep insight into life that have done that. But to a T, there's something about them that disassociates from certain parts of the material. To a T, almost all of them really appreciate the more practice-oriented texts and less of the stories of the origin of the world. The origin of the world stories are great. They tell you, they point to similarities in the human mind. Genesis is a story that's been told across countless cultures, not countless, but probably hundreds of cultures, and was adopted by the near Middle East in the history of the Jews. But it predates that, and it's all over the world. Where you see agricultural societies develop, you'll see a story of Genesis, a similar story of Genesis. So, similar story, not even in agricultural worlds, but in evolving societies. They all have their own origin story, which has incredible similarities to Genesis. So, another thing about spirituality is that spirituality doesn't have limits. If you evolve, if you're following your path and you're really committed to, let's say you like the idea of being one with God. For me, God is too loaded of a word, and there's too many cultures that are using God's name in violence and ego. And so I prefer just to try to connect with life and connect with the essence of the universe. Because for me, there's nobody trying to kill somebody else because they're trying to connect with life and connect with the essence of the universe. So I would say actually spirituality, you almost have to adopt that idea, that you're not parochial, you're not tribal. There's a universality to spirituality, whereas almost all religions are parochial and tribal and exclude some people and say that we're better than you. So that would be, I think, the hallmark of true spirituality. There's no us versus them. There's no me better than you. There's all of us in this together, and each one of us trying to raise one another. Sure, we have differences. Sure, people try to murder other people. Sure, we may get caught in the line of fire. Sure, someone may try to even kill us. But in spirituality, there's a fundamental understanding that everything is connected. There's a wonderful saying that your final obstacle to union with God, I would say union with the universe, the essence of the universe, the essence of life, is your conception of it. That, I would say, would sum up the totality of spirituality. One is trying to become more conscious of your reactionary nature, to be more aware, to develop the silent witness within so that you're less reactive. In another video I made about being responsive versus reactive, you want to focus on being responsive and connecting to your own reactiveness, because you can't be spiritual if you're a reactive being. If all you do is react to the stimuli around you, you're not going to be spiritual. Well, we all do that all the time, but if you're not at least on the path trying to transcend that, you're not going to get there. So one is you have to try to transcend your reactiveness. And the other is that you have to transcend your conceptions of what is right and what is the nature of the world. So you have to experiment. So spirituality is the experimenter's path. You have to be like a scientist in a realm where statistics and measures really can't apply. They can apply, actually, in science. So here, this is a very important point. Nature, science, math, physics, quantum physics, not Newtonian physics, well, the Newtonian part of physics that's correct, Einsteinian physics, all of that stuff is 100% consistent with spirituality. And it should be 100% consistent, in my opinion, with religion. We just have old religions. Think about it this way. The religions that are in the world today, most of them, were created in an era where science, the scientific method, didn't exist. So their religion is completely consistent with the understanding of the day. It's kind of like saying, oh, the world's still flat. My religion says the world is flat, so it's flat. That's what religions do. They say that, you know, the world was created in 7 days, so it was created in 7 days. But religion, true religion, is never inconsistent with nature. Nature and religion are the same thing. We are the same as nature. The more that we fight against the reality of our own nature, the more pain and suffering we cause in the world and in ourselves. That feels good. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got value out of it, please subscribe. Please watch some more videos and tell a friend. Thanks.